wonderful, who also does all the other stuff I talked about before. But when I went to Quilt Fest last October, I met Helen, who is one of the founders of So Kind of Wonderful, and I fell in love with quilting with curves. I don't know what else to say. I thought, no way. I was so angry. And then I saw the flying geese. I was like, I thought you were going to teach me some sort of secret trick. And she's like, oh, it's great. You do 8 at a time. And I'm like, yeah, we always do 8 at a time. Like, that's not a trick. But fell in love. Absolutely fell in love. And their methods make it so easy. We actually taught a drunkard's path class at the craft shop last year. And you had to be pretty precise. You had to do things. How many of you have sewed with quilts or with curves? Quilted with curves? Yeah. How many of you love it? How many of you hate it? Raise your hands high if you hate it. Just one? Okay. And then a few undecided, whatever. So Kind of Wonderful is going to make you love it if you don't already. They make it so easy. It's all about getting your stuff put together, pressing it down so it looks right, and then cutting it down so it's exact. A lot of trimming, but it's great because it comes out perfect each and every time. So that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. So Kind of Wonderful. Oh, let's do the handout. So right now, the So Kind of Wonderful brand consists of 4 specialty rulers and then some square up rulers that are marked specialty for their patterns. And then they have some fabric lines and the patterns as well. So I met Helen. Helen is the owner, and her sister Jenny owns So Kind of Wonderful, and they wanted to figure out a way to sew with curves that made it easier and not so challenging. You know, we get the drunkard's path and things need to line up exact, and they wanted to make it work no matter what. So they come up with this, these methods and these ideas, and then they just keep creating amazing things. They promised me there would be a chicken sometime. I don't know if she really said this year, but I added that part to the promise. So they have just a huge assortment of patterns. But they use, like I said, the 4 different rulers. And I didn't bring the rulers with me because they're just rulers that have arcs in them and markings. And it would probably scare you if I showed you the rulers. You would be like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So, but each of these lines is one of the things that you can do with each of the rulers, right? It represents, this is the quick curve mini, wonder curve, and then quick straight. So on your handout, you're going to see a couple of examples. You get a little bit of instruction on how to use each of the rulers. Don't worry, that comes, if you buy the ruler, that comes with it. You get a nice big version of those instructions. But it also gives you a fun little project that you can make so that you can kind of get down the use of the rulers. So like I said, this one used all the rulers. This is the class that we're going to teach at the craft shop in March and April. I did put a flyer up there for it. It's going to be $75. We are using different fabric than this. We're using some fabric from So Kind of Wonderful. But you'll just learn how to use each of the different rulers and learn all of the methods from a certified instructor. So even if you've learned it before, you'll learn it the right and easy way. Okay, you guys gotta tell me when that thing is ringing because I can't tell the difference. So I'm gonna walk you through a couple of the rulers. The first one is the quick curve, and that's the first one that you did. Many of you, if you're in Peacemakers from Blackfoot, you might have done the Metro Rings quilt. I made this shirt with the quilts, with the quick curve ruler. Absolutely love this one. The quilt, I don't know what's going on. Hold on, pause. Are you playing with the audio?
Yeah, I was trying to get it to not ring.
Oh, I'll just try to stand still. Anyways, the quick curve ruler, that was the first one, and there's some adorable patterns, and that's the one that you're going to find the most classic patterns with just a fun curved variation on them. So there's the 9 patch, there's the attic windows, there's this one, whatever it would be otherwise, a pinwheel or whatever, but I love this one. It's called Chic Sisters. So, and then if you were, like I said, if you took the class from Peacemakers, we did the Metro rings. I am not the proudest of this quilt, not because I didn't do a good job, but I just don't like the colors. So anyways, total cheater way for you to get yourself an almost double wedding ring. Everyone's looking so hard. I know the colors are so atrocious. It's fine.
Love the colors.
Oh,
Sorry.
my, however, the quilting.
Cute.
So the great thing about this quilting is it's actually so kind of wonderful quilting pattern. They did the matching quilting pattern for the Metro ring. So it fits it perfectly. It did beautifully. And I kind of like this side better. Green isn't really my color, but still, that side's pretty cute. And then not only the individual patterns, but they do have some books. Here's a sampler. The Curve It Up is a sampler. So you really can just do so many things. It's a 16 patch with some stuff and the spools. It's just super fun. This one is one of my favorite. I think, I don't know that I put it on there, but it's your basic pinwheel with curves. And it just is so classic and I just really like it. So a couple more options. I do carry, the craft shop does carry the rulers and much of the patterns, and we're getting more and more all the time, but you can also order straight from sewkindofwonderful.com. Next one is the Quick Curve Ruler Mini. That one is probably my favorite ruler so far.
So how does the ruler, is it in that packet or what is it?
The ruler is sold separately.
Okay, and then those packets.
And
should
then
have
your pattern is sold
an
separately as well. And you'll notice that it's kind of color coded and sectioned in your handout. So if it has the yellow sticker or a yellow outline on your handout, it means it uses the Quick Curve. If it has the blue sticker or the blue outline on your paper, it uses the Quick Curve Mini. You'll look, Maud Owl's Revival uses 2 of the rulers. So cute. And these people really love their flying geese too, so just know that going in. Quick Curve Mini ruler is the one that I'm using for this very interesting, I know, Tula Pink version. The pattern's called Crisscross Applesauce. And they had it done in the most rich, beautiful colors, the browns and the ambers and stuff. And I had this big, huge bundle of Tula Pink fabric that was just burning a hole in my pocket. And so I decided to challenge myself. There will only be one fussy cut block, and that's the dogs. Hopefully you can all see the dogs. Okay, it's worth saying. This is the only fussy cut block, okay? The rest of them, I challenged myself to using Tula's huge prints and just letting them fall how they lie. Key point, this is her big owl print. If you know any of Tula's stuff, this is the bottom half of a pretty large owl. But I just let it, you can see his little claws right there. I just kind of started cutting and let everything fall into how it is. Because we get some of these large print stuff, I don't know what to do with it. I want to keep it intact. And this time I decided to just let it be how it be. So some of the centers are fussy cut, but if you end up seeing the little kitty, if you end up seeing a little mouse, if you see T-Rex, that's completely on accident. So I just let it happen. Except for the center, I did fussy cut a couple centers, and I did fussy cut the dogs. And this looks like a really complicated pattern, but it's not. It's really just a snowball, and then a million flying geese. And this one's not sewn together yet, so you can kind of get the idea. But you just take an A piece and a B piece, and you make these little curves one at a time, and then you just trim them down so that they're perfect. You'll see all of my seams match, everything is, and it's not because I'm really good, okay? It's just because I know how to cut, and they put these little dots and you cut around the dots and you end up with scale-proof curved seams. The quick curve mini ruler is also the one that's used for Starry Night. My husband picked Starry. I asked him to look through their library. I said, find the ones you like the best. And he's like, well, there's this one with these people on it. And I'm like, all right, that one's kind of weird, but because there is like this one that has a bunch of people on it, and it doesn't seem like something my husband would pick. I was like, that's weird. And I'm driving because he's got a bum knee. So I'm driving, and I'm like, oh, okay, show me. And I look over, and I'm like, honey, that's the nativity. Like, look again. So, can you guys over there see it, or did you get a chance to see it? Okay. It's the nativity. There's 3 versions of it. That is not my quilt. That is actually So Kind of Wonderful. It's one of their test quilts. I would have more quilts here, but they happen to be at QuiltCon right now, and they kind of want all of their samples to decorate their booth. So I took what I could get. But the craft shop is doing that one for its quilt along in 2027. That's the first time I've planned anything out that far. But I've had enough interest in that just for people seeing the pattern in the shop and now actually seeing the quilt. But we'll make sure that we have the pattern. And when I get their new line of fabric next month, we'll be kitting that as well. So that'll be available, kind of big term, big deal. Another one that I'm really super excited about. This is a sampler that uses, I think, mostly the mini. This one's called Urbanology. And this has got a little bit of everything for a little bit of everyone. But the thing that really gets me is the deer antlers in the middle. But the more you look at it, the more you find something else to see, something else to look at. And I just love this one. So this one is definitely on my list. And again, I think it uses the quick curve mini. It might use the Wonder Curve, it might use both. What's that? This is actually one of their sample quilts too. So they don't have a quilting pattern for this. Jenny just does some beautiful freehand stuff. And I encourage all of you to actually come look at the back, because even though she did the really little lines in the piano keys, the fabric that they used on the back actually makes it look like it's little cross hatches the whole way, and it's really kind of cool looking. So, but yeah, Jenny's an amazing long armer. So this one is one of their sample quilts.
So is that seams all the way across? Part?
Oh, the quilting?
Or is that in the fabric?
No, it's seams. They're not even a 1/4 inch. They're,
Okay.
yeah, they're little. And then she's got some pebbling filling in most of the designs, and then some echo quilting and stuff, but just pretty. I can't wait to make my own of this. I really can't wait to make my own of that. And it has some variations on the pattern that are just beautiful as well. The Wonder Curve. Okay, the Wonder Curve is where it gets really a lot of fun. Auntie Iris, I begged and begged and begged for them to let me bring Auntie Iris, but of course they wanted that one at QuiltCon. She's so cute, but I put a picture of her. The Wonder Curve is the one that gets us the circles, and it gets us all of just everything. Okay, it's the pink strip on here. So it gives us the petals, and there's just so much that you can do with the Wonder Curve. And if you see the boho holly, that's been on my UFO list for like 2 years now, just because I wanted to do one of those. Yeah, Sunbonnet Sue, Holly Hobby, whatever. Those ones are so much fun. And then the newest one is the quick straight ruler. And it looks pretty simple, and you're like, why couldn't I just turn my ruler? It's not so much about that. It's more about the markings and the fact that they put some stuff together for you to use. So it's got the markings, it's got the slit in it that you can cut By the way, all of their rulers have a slit that you can use either your 45 or 60 millimeter rotary cutter in to get your curves cut, and you can stack them up. And they encourage stacking them up. Like, this is what's so crazy about it. There's none of that super fussy cutting. There's none of that. You got to make sure it's exact. They're like, no, stack those suckers up, get them cut out, pay attention to if they're supposed to all be, face up or face down, whatever. But yeah, you can go for however many your rotary cutter will cut through and just get it done. But yeah, the quick straight ruler, that trip and out one, the bottom left, or yeah, this one. Super excited to do this one. It's got a lot of different colors and stuff, but this is their new one. It just adds, I mean, it's all something that we can do, but it also takes away the guessing of that offset 1/4 inch, right? If any of you have done a wonky half square triangle or half square rectangle, you have to kind of guess that 1/4 inch. This takes all of that away because you just sew it however you sew it, and then you use the ruler to trim it up, and it shows you exactly where your seam should be, so you can't screw that up. We've all done that, right? Cut the tips off of our half square triangles. So just really fun stuff. I have one more quilt to show you. This is also one of their samplers. It's called 70 and Sunny. And this is, I think, with the Wonder Curve. It's just so cool. It's all just such basic quilting that turns out to look so amazing. And then just basic skills. Literally I would have looked at this 2 years ago and been like, no way, I will never be that good. I will not. And I'm having so much fun. I hate repetitive work. This one is going to the fair, and I've made sure it's big enough to go in the big, large category. I'm not a big quilt maker. I'm like one and done. I want little stuff. I want to get it done. And this one has just, it's so soothing to me. I sit down and I made all the flying geese all at the beginning. Not gonna lie. But you just get to sewing and you get in a little groove and literally, and you trim it all down and put it all together, and it's so simple. So curves are definitely not outside of your reach. They are not outside of your skill level. This is the simplest, most easy thing if you can cut through a few layers haphazardly. So see, notice I didn't say consistent. Notice I didn't say scant. Notice I didn't say 1/4 inch. I said sew a seam. Okay. Also notice I didn't say pins. I didn't say glue. I didn't say clips. Okay. You just need these hands to pull the fabric together, be able to sew a seam, and be able to read instructions. So if there are any questions about anything that I've taught, well, let's start with this hat. Any questions about sew kind of wonderful?
Did you bring any of the rulers?
I did not bring any of the rulers. They are at my shop.
They just look complicated. I want to
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
see one.
That's why I didn't bring them.
I want to see inside the pattern I want to see what.
So they're all going to look, I'll pass this around, I'm happy to. All of the patterns read just like, I'll just start it with you since you asked for it. All of the patterns read like this. So there's instructions, there's pictures, and it shows you every single way. And it tells you, make sure that this curve lines up with this point on the ruler. And then they made up squaring rulers that have a dot for that point where it's supposed to line up. So
We just hold this open and show some of them so they can. What do you?
there's our churn dash. And it
So
tells
then
you,
where you put, okay, and it shows you how to use the ruler.
it shows you exactly how to cut it, where to put everything, how to sew it together. And it does say, extend it 1/4 inch. You have plenty of room to mess up. That 1/4 inch can look like however you want it to. And yeah,
Okay.
just comes out into these curved squares that you sew together, and you can make whole circles, and you can make whole nativity scenes, and the instructions really are they draw everything out, it says everything, and the tools do have markings on it. You just have to pay attention to which marking it wants you to pay attention to. But you can mark right on it with your Sharpie, it wipes right off with rubbing alcohol when you're done. But yeah, if you just kind of look at it, the rulers are a little bit scary. So definitely recommend taking a class if you have one available to you, which you all do.
Do you have to use their patterns with those rulers, or like I just did some curves on a different pattern? Do the rulers adapt to other patterns, I guess?
Okay, I'm gonna deep dive with you for just a second. I just took a class with my Quilt Guild and we did some curved piecing. And I wanna explain this the right way. Drunkard's Path might be what you just did. Which one, what did you do?
They were little birds and it was a tilde pattern.
Okay, so any Drunkard's Path, this is basically a piece of the Drunkard's Path quilt block, by the way. Typically, they're gonna have a little bit more room up here and down here, right? Or you can extend the size of your block compared to your curved piece.
It did have a piece just like that with very little space like that.
Right. So to answer your question, it just depends on what it needs. Because if you have a square this big that only needs this big of a corner cut out, then you would have to figure out your own math, right? So it's more about the curvature. When we were doing the other curved quilt, I brought all of my curved rulers and I held them up to the pattern that we were given, the paper pattern that we were given, to see if any of them fit on my rulers, and they did not. So I had to use that pattern. So it's kind of more specific, but it just, I mean, you can play with it. I told you it was going to be a deep dive. That's not a yes or no answer, because you could use it if it's going to work. Is that a good answer? Sarah's left. Any other questions about So Kind of Wonderful? All right. Thank you guys all so much for seeing us today. Do I have any questions about the Utah Quilt Guild? Nothing? All right. Thank you all so much for. Oh, well, yeah, but the Utah Quilt Guild has nothing to do with the raffle, so we'll get there. Any questions about the craft shop? Yes.
What other kinds of classes do you teach?
Our 2026 calendar is up here. Oh, you really want me to talk about that stuff? Okay, so I teach beginners. Everything is taught at the beginner level. So, but even if you're experienced, you can fly through my classes. Some people have. But you still learn something new. You're going to learn a new technique. You're going to learn something basic. And we call it the Signature Quilt Series. So our classes go 2 months. 2 classes per month, so every other week over the course of 2 months, for a total of 4 classes, and then we have open sew in between that. And we are focusing on getting you a basic skill that you need for quilting. So what we just finished up was applique. And this one was raw edge, literally peel and stick applique. The next one that we do will be probably not needle turn, not really my thing just yet, but next year it'll probably be the Lori Holt method. So, good. Oh, that's the one I used on this, where I did the SF 101 on the other side, cut the back, flipped it over, and hit my edges. March, April, we're going to do quilting with curves. If I find some other specialty ruler by next year, then we'll, use that, or maybe we'll do quilting with curves again, because people really like it and they want to join the quilt along. May, June, novelty piecing. That's where you would get Elizabeth Hartman, pen and paper, Lori Holt, okay? Some of the specialty novelty, this is novelty piecing here. That's probably foundation paper piecing. Okay, this is novelty piecing here. Foundation paper piecing, okay. Novelty piecing here, okay, it's when we're building something common out of fabric. July, August, foundation paper piecing. Oh my gosh. The paper says pattern and fabric selection TBD, but you did not want to miss this one. Okay, super cute.
Say it again, start over. What one?
The foundation paper piecing. It
Ah.
says that the fabric and the pattern are TBD. They've been deed. And very, very cute. And then September, October, play with scraps. This one literally is just traditional piecing. It's some straight lines with some half square triangles. We take it back to the basics. We've done the Idaho a couple of times just to get you getting a consistent scant 1/4 inch seam and to kind of introduce you to some of those half square triangles, bias cuts, etc. And then November, December, we're going to revisit the Lone Star again, the easy way. People really, really loved that. It's really super fancy and it's so stinky easy. So it's really fun to get beginners that's making a Lone Star quilt just because they're paying attention and whatever. So that's what our schedule looks like. We do have monthly workshops. We're starting up a machine embroidery program that'll have a mini quilt for each month. We'll do a quilted jacket. We'll probably do the tidy tote that you guys will see tomorrow. Those are Saturday workshops. We do special workshops. Like if you want to come and hang out and learn something, I'll teach you and your friends to do it. And if your only friends are like you carry them in your pocket, I'll do that too. Mickey classes once a month. We have our crochet group that meets on Wednesdays, every Wednesday. It's not just crochet, we just kind of call it that to make it easiest, but we do all of the fiber arts. That includes even watercolor painting. Just a fun little spot. We all sit back in the back and I have a bunch of fun pink chairs and we hang out. So I think that covers all of my classes. Any other questions about the craft shop?
The address of your.
45 North Broadway Street, downtown Blackfoot. Hard to see, but hopefully downtown will start working with us on getting some bigger, better signage and stuff like that. So running a business in Blackfoot is not easy. Running a quilt shop in Blackfoot is even harder. And so hopefully we'll get some good signage, and this year is looking good so far. We're still here, so yeah. All right, anything else about the craft shop?
Do you have machine embroidery supplies there, like the stabilizers?
On their way. Today, we will have cutaway light mesh for all of your Kimberbellers, okay? So if any of you do a Kimberbell machine embroidery, I'm your guide, starting when FedEx gets there today. But we're building on that, one type at a time. So, and right now what we're going to be using for our embroidery series is that light mesh cutaway. So, and we are hoping to have the full line of Isacord embroidery / long arm thread within the next 2 or 3 months. Don't hold me on that one, but we will have Gutermann all purpose. We have a Gutermann cotton right now. We will have Gutermann all purpose within the next 6 weeks as soon as it ships. So building, growing all the time. Anything else for that? All right, perfect. All right, well, we'd like to thank you guys all for coming to the morning session of the Quilt Show. We have a lot of really fun things coming up this afternoon, but for now, we're going to go ahead and break for lunch. Feel free to go back and shop both with Tamara at the Hem Stitching and back in the back with the craft shop. And when we come back, we'll see Connie Tabor and the other things I talked about earlier. What did you want? Oh, the raffle. Okay. There are a couple of really neat items up for